Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Voices of Vic podcast. This evening, it's myself, Joe Thomas, and tonight I'm joined by Caity. It would have been Mike, but Mike's been painting all day. He's only just sat down to eat, and he just didn't really want to turn up tonight. So yeah, it's just going to be me and Caity with yourselves this evening. We're here to discuss the yet again, unfortunately, another defeat to Coventry City yesterday, a 2-1 defeat. We're going to go through the goals, talk about each of the players' performances yesterday. And obviously, if you've got any comments, questions, or anything like that, do put it in the chat. And obviously, as we're going through, we'll come round to it. First of all, Caity, you were in the away end yesterday. I've just got to say, actually, just before we start, all the fans yesterday that went up in away travelling were absolutely incredible yesterday. The atmosphere was really coming through watching it yesterday, and was really, really proud to be a Hornet yesterday. How was it in the away end for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. Again, like you said, we obviously travelled in great numbers and there was really good atmosphere, lots of chanting. For me, Derby was better, I feel. But then I also do think it's easier to have those chants going when you're winning. And obviously at Derby, we were winning from quite early on. So, but yeah, regardless of that, the fans were excellent yesterday again. And I feel like as fans, with the recent events happening over the last couple of days, I feel like using our voices and singing out, chanting at games, everything we've been doing, it's paying off. And I feel like it is having an effect. So yeah, all I can say is like fair play to everyone that went yesterday and everyone who's been, supporting the club with the recent events. So yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting because obviously when we've seen banners and things being held out of Vicarage Road in the past, the stewards have been very quick to jump on people. Obviously, there was quite a few yesterday in the away end that we saw on social media, so it'll be really fun to see whether they get allowed in next week at Vicarage Road, if people will be bringing them again. But yeah, we'll talk about obviously the game. Then it was it was another disappointing game overall, wasn't it? Yesterday, it's becoming a real problem of ours, isn't it? And Tom said it yesterday after the game. He was like, we just seem to start playing when we're behind, and behind at a point where we're probably not going to come back. And like he said, because the pressure's off and we've got nothing to lose, we just go for it. And we just look, obviously the other teams probably sit back and allow us to go at them. But it was a problem again yesterday, wasn't it, for us? And really, really disappointing where, I mean, I know Coventry have been on a good run under Frank Lampard, but I expected something yesterday, especially with everything that's going on. I thought we might have got at least a point yesterday. I don't know about you.
Yeah, so did I. And I really expected a bit more of a powerful performance. I mean, I know that they would have wanted to put things right after Tuesday. So I did expect more from the team. I think it was, again, just slow starts, not really any intensity. I also feel like Coventry just looked better than us and we waited too long to really kick into gear. I think we looked better towards the end. Again, we had that kind of last 10 minutes where we really, really tried to kick on, but then you're already playing catch up when you're 2 goals down. I think it's tough because there's so many players we can sit and blame and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's just about the recruitment of who they're bringing in. And I do feel like it's clear that the players that we have now are not who we need to take us forward. The midfield looked horrific yesterday. We are really missing loser there. And I just think that Coventry were more up for it than us. And it was obviously quite an important game for them. I think they'd won like their last 2. So it was about sort of them getting their sort of winning streak. They weren't amazing, but they were just better than us and we weren't completely up for it, which was a shame because I thought it was going to be more like the Derby game. But some of the players' body language, I'm sure we'll speak about him, but Bayer yesterday, he was like so poor. His body language was crap. So I honestly feel like it was a tough game for us, but I did expect more.
Yeah, he's just becoming a real problem. Like for me, like he was great at Derby, and he did everything that we've been wanting in a striker to do. But he just he was terrible on Tuesday. He was terrible yesterday. And like you say, his body language is just poor. Like he just shrugs his shoulders and just looks stroppy all the time, doesn't he? What I will say is, in fairness, is that Coventry, for me, probably been one of the best teams to come to Vicarage Road this season. Like in terms of the way they pass the ball around, how good they look on the counter attack and on their press and everything, they were really impressive. So, I didn't expect it to be. I didn't. Like I said, it'd have been nice to get a point yesterday, but I'm under no illusions that the way we're playing at the moment, it was going to be very, very tough yesterday.
Yeah.
Jonathan Bond, obviously, we'll start going, through the team and the players that played yesterday. Jonathan Bond obviously started in goal. What did you make? I mean, I can't really blame him for the first goal. We'll talk about the person who I thought was at fault for that in a moment. But the free kick, the more I see it, he spent so long trying to position that wall yesterday and get everybody in position. The ball, when you see I don't know if you've seen a fan's video from Twitter, but there's a shot behind the goal, and it literally goes slap bang down the centre, and I'm just like, hang on a minute, like this is just poor. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I'm not going to criticise Bond because I feel like he's doing a better job than a different other goalkeeper would be doing. But you can criticise him for that free kick. I think it is just positioning. He was very far to the left, and I honestly think that he could have got there if he was slightly more over. So it is disappointing to concede that. And like Paul said here, the free kick killed us off in the game. I do think it did. It set the tone, and everyone's head sort of dropped after conceding that. So it was a shame, but yeah.
Yeah, just mentioning that run, actually, Paul, that you put there. I was just saying to Caity before we came on, I was having a look because obviously we're done now for January. We go, our next game's at home starting for February. And in for December and January, we've had 11 league games and we've got 11 points out of 33 available. So, yeah, when you consider, to still be in the position that we are, 3 points off the playoffs is just astonishing when you're on a run like that. But I suppose it just shows you just how poor the league is overall, because like when you look at some of the results, obviously Middlesbrough did end up losing yesterday, I think, at Preston again. So they've lost again. I think they lost at West Brom last week, if I remember rightly, or West Brom lost at Borough. Blackburn have lost a few recently. So yeah, it is a concern, and obviously Norwich got a very good result yesterday at home to Swansea, 5-1. And I think I read a stat that they're the second highest scorers in the league this season, with 49 goals in all their league games so far. So, onto the back line then yesterday, Caity. Porteous, Pollock, Morris, James Morris. We've given him a lot of praise this season, but yesterday he looked all out of place, didn't he? Yesterday he didn't look up for it, and it was a really uncharacteristically poor performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he really struggled. He was the standout person who struggled for me yesterday. I can't put my finger on what it was. I just think that I'm not sure he wasn't up for it. I just genuinely think that he just struggled with the game. And I mean, I can't remember the last time he started. It must have been quite a few games ago now. But maybe I think it was probably like before Christmas, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I understand with rotation. Yeah, so that was what, December?
Potentially. It may, to be fair, actually, I don't know. Did he start in that did he start in the Portsmouth game? It was definitely before the new year anyway. He's not started a game.
And I just think like maybe he wasn't fit, because he was fit. He just like struggled to be in the side. And like I did watch one of Tom's the post-match interview, and he does speak about James, and he talks about how that he swapped the formation and James was able to come in. And I just think like for me, I would have just kept it how it was. I feel like it didn't really need a change. and he was a bit of a liability yesterday.
Yeah, for me, Paul's actually mentioned here. He said, I think Morris should be playing left back rather than Rucci and Ogbonna Seriato in the middle. Yeah, do you know what? I think for me yesterday, I don't think there's been too much wrong with the formation in the last couple of games. Like playing that 4-2-3-1 formation works for me. Like, so changing it again yesterday, it didn't. It looked all out of shape. Obviously, Seriato came out the side, and for me, I felt quite harsh for him because he was the best player for me on Tuesday night. So, for him to come out, and if a game like Coventry City, when they're an experienced Championship side, Ogbonna would have been a good starter yesterday for me. Obviously, Matty Pollock captained the side yesterday. I thought he did all right yesterday. I didn't think he really did too much wrong. Obviously, didn't set the world alight, but it was an okay performance, wasn't it? As was Ryan Porteous.
Yeah, again, both of them. I mean, the thing with Matty is that for me as well, it isn't just about his performance. The way he conducts himself as the captain is what we need from someone on the pitch, regardless of their performance. And he is the captain of Watford Football Club. I don't care if the club want to give it to Bachmann or Sissoko. Matty Pollock is my captain, and he shows that every time he's the captain. Even his mannerism on the pitch, you can see he's like taking charge. He's like directing everyone. He's helping people out. And I think as well, the reaction after the game, I'm not sure if you've seen the clip, but it was actually from a Coventry fan. They were filming the clapping afterwards. In the clip, you can actually see Matty Pollock calling everyone over, and I actually think he calls Sissoko over to clap. He's going like, "Come, let's clap the fans," and I think that just shows everything. Like, this guy bleeds Watford. Like, he is the Watford captain, and he could have. I mean, again, the defence was poor yesterday because of the goals we were letting in, but I still feel like Matty Pollock is such a consistent captain player, and I just feel like, regardless of his performance, I'll still say that he had a good game because of his reaction vocally and everything. And I think Porteous as well. Again, he was at some faults, I would say. Maybe there was a couple of moments where he just would like go straight into tackles, and I just think, what are you doing? Like, you're not even looking and thinking, you're just being a liability basically. But again, I just feel like I can't really fault them because they're playing in it's such a weird time right now to play for the club, that I feel like I don't even want to criticize people because I don't feel like they don't necessarily deserve it. And that they're trying their best. And I just feel like, I don't know. Like, well, how do you think that Porteous did?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a standout performance in my opinion, but he didn't, at the same time, he didn't really do too much wrong. I mean, for me, the first goal was, when you watch it back, the laziness from Bio to get close to the cross coming in was awful. I didn't really notice it at first, but watching it back, he kind of like cantered to it and then stopped and then did some sort of movement towards it, and the ball was gone. And then the defending from Ngakia is just unforgivable. It's just so poor. And then obviously, as the second goal was the free kick. I can't remember who committed the first, but I know I certainly got enraged at the referee giving it for handball against Sissoko the second time. So it's like you say, I think the way Matty Pollock conducts himself as captain, he shows himself as a real leader. If I remember rightly, I talk about it a lot. I remember being at Gillingham in pre-season, and Pollock played with Porteous along the back line, and just the way he talks constantly at people and telling people where to go, what to do, you can tell that he's born to be a leader. And I think at some point he will be made captain permanently. I'm sure of it. Just going to go to some comments. I can see a lot of comments coming in on this. I see Mark said, on what planet is Morris better than Ogbonna or Seriato? Yeah, I mean, Mark, I agree with you. I think yesterday wasn't the game for James Morris, unfortunately. A real shame, because obviously now we're just going to, the last performance, if he comes out of the team for a while, we're just going to remember a bad performance at Coventry City. And then it says there's no way Ngakia is better than Andrews as right wing back, which is what we started with. 2 poor decisions by Tom for this game. Yeah, I mean, we've said it a few times on the pod over the last couple of months, is that Ngakia for me works much better as in the back four as opposed to a wing back. I just don't think he can handle the wing back position very well, and Andrews does suit that better. So yeah, I agree with that. Paul said, Mark, normally Ngakia is much more solid defensive than Andrews. Yeah, he is. Agree with that, Paul. Then Mark's come back and said, Andrews is so quick and can be an asset going forward with the bar and Eberselier out. Yeah, well, Mark, if you saw the BBC yesterday, Quadro Bar actually got himself a game yesterday. So yeah, miracles can happen. And I can see your comment after about the Dennis Lip. We will talk about that towards the end, as we've got some bits to go there. For that. So, yeah, going on to the midfield then, Caity, yesterday, it was Kayembe and Tom Delabashiri yesterday in midfield. I think it's safe to say that the more minutes Tom Delabashiri is getting, the more fitter he's looking, and he's looking like he's getting back to his normal self, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think he was very promising yesterday. I mean, that first half, he was really in control of the ball, and I felt like he was really going for it. He had a lot of energy. So I think it is just about getting him back to playing that full 90, because as soon as he came off, I was a bit like, okay, But when he was playing that first half, he was excellent, and we're really seeing him get back to sort of how we saw him at the beginning of the season. So I do think it's promising, and it's just about getting his numbers up now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as time goes on, I think he will become more of a starter. And yeah, he was unlucky. He had that shot yesterday, didn't he, towards the end of the first half, that the keeper parried, that Bio followed up with quite a weak header. But yeah, he was unlucky not to score then. But yeah, I thought his general all-round play yesterday was okay. I thought overall, though, the midfield compared to Coventry looked pretty weak, and we were getting dominated quite a lot, weren't we, in that midfield yesterday?
Yeah, no, I do agree. And I also think, I praised Kayembe last weekend, but again, today I wouldn't. Yeah, yesterday he didn't have a very good game. He just went missing a lot. And I feel like, for me, it isn't about that he's necessarily doing stuff bad. It's more the fact that I don't even realise he's on the pitch half the time, because he's so non-existent in that midfield. Like Tom Delabashiri, yeah, I noticed him. Like, I was pointing him out, like thinking, yeah, he's actually doing something. Kayembe, if you had said that he wasn't playing, I would have believed you, because he didn't do anything.
No, I know. It's one of those things that's just becoming a really frequent thing for him. He's just getting poorer and poorer and poorer as like games are going on. Like I genuinely can't put my finger on it. I don't know whether he just isn't, because obviously he was, at Derby he played in that more advanced role. He was back in that number 10 role, wasn't he? And he looked a lot better. I don't know if he just can't play in this midfield position, but he was second to everything yesterday. He just seemed well off the pace. I mean, he obviously got booked again yesterday. He seems to be a frequent player for getting booked lately as well, isn't he? But yeah, would you go as far as saying next week at Norwich? I mean, we've not really got the side to be doing it, but like, would you pull him out the side and start him on the bench?
I think it's just about with the limitations that we've got. Like, we've got no one to really rotate the squad with, and it's obvious that Tom likes playing Kayembe because he likes to put him in a lot. I mean, no one comes to mind as someone to play in that role, really, apart from, because obviously when he was playing in the more advanced role, that's more of like Georgie's role. So I don't know. I mean, if we had someone on the, in the squad that I would think, yeah, they do a better job, yeah, but also I just can't really see Tom dropping him because there's not really anyone to come in for that role. I mean, if you had to pick someone, who would you rather come in for him?
Well, Mark's made a good point here, actually. Obviously, yeah, Tom Delly was good, nearly scored. Crucial with Loser, albeit I've heard Loser could be back next week.
I thought he was supposed to be back because I swear Tom said he was ready for the game. Or Andrew French weird that he was ready, which was why I was really shocked when he wasn't even on. Was he on the bench?
No, he wasn't. I think there was a potential that he could have maybe come back, maybe with him given something to maybe ease some pain potentially if it was needed. Yeah. However, I think it would have been more beneficial the fact that he wasn't in the squad and that we give him another week potentially. But if I've got a choice of, this is going to sound really harsh, but if I've got a choice of a half fit in-round Loser and a full fit LOKMB, then I'm picking Loser all day long because the way he moves about the way he moves the ball about in the midfield for me is just so much better than Kayembe. And with Tom Delabashiru getting back to full fitness, those two are going to be starters for me for the rest of the season in that midfield, which then, as we've been mentioning, Kayembe playing in the more advanced role, does that mean maybe he sort of starts rotating and bringing Rocco Vata and Chad Vakatsi out the team to then keep Kayembe in the team? Or does he actually just start playing Kayembe from the bench a bit more?
Yeah. I think it is just about, again, we're going back to transfers and we're going back to depth of the squad. Mark said here, we need a tough tackling centre midfielder. We're bottom of the championship in terms of tackles won in centre midfield. And I think that just sums us up, really. It's really where our weaknesses lie. And the fact that we can't even name someone right now to come in for Edo Kayembe unless we completely switch everything up just is telling. We should have someone who can be there because not everyone's going to be consistently good. And Edo Kayembe has sort of solidified his place in the team only because there's nobody else to do that, especially with the injuries. So again, we're just coming back down to what we could blame every issue on. It's just recruitment, and it is the lack of squad depth that we have right now.
Yeah, and obviously, when you look at Pierre Duomo, obviously he's still, I believe, I haven't seen the numbers of the interceptions since he's been injured, and I know he was leading the way before that, but obviously we're just missing someone like that.
Games.
I know, yeah, exactly. Like the amount of times he'd intercepted the ball with so few minutes in the team, just incredible. And we could really do with someone like him in the team at the moment. But yeah, again, it's another one that we've got to wait till. I think it's mid-March. I think he's out till, is it 2 months, wasn't it? Duomo, 2 months.
I'm pretty sure they said like 2 to 3 months.
So yeah, gutting that one. But yeah, with obviously we played with the wing backs yesterday. Yasser Larouci, I don't really know what to say if I'm being completely honest. Obviously, there was that incident in the first half that everyone I think I was in a few different chats and everyone said at the same time in that first half when he had his little moment. But overall, another poor performance for me. Like, I was sat there on Tuesday and every time he gets the ball, I don't know why, I just feel really uncomfortable watching him. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, Jamal Lewis was another level, but this guy's taking it even further. Like, the fact that he just gets the ball and doesn't, there's just no want to, drive past the player that he's got coming up against him. Like, he just seems to get it and he just gets the ball stuck under his feet, doesn't really know what to do with it, and then goes back the other way. And I'm like, come on. Like, you could, if he really wanted to, I mean, I know the opposition wasn't great when he came on in the League Cup at the start of the season, but he really showed in them early games that he can beat someone and create opportunities in the box. But we've seen none of that for the last 2 or 3 months for him, and I think he needs to. Well, we need another left-sided player, but he needs to run out of the team.
Yeah, I mean, that little thing that he did is a sackable offence anyway when he went down. If they had scored from that, I would have been fuming. Like, I would have been like, Tom, take him off now. Like, you cannot do that. The fact that he was down for long as well, like, even when he realised everyone was running off, he didn't even get up then. He then waited for another, like, 30 seconds, minute or whatever. And I literally thought, get up now. And then as soon as the ball was down the other end, he started jogging. And I just thought, what was the point? Like, why did you do that? It was such a big risk to take. And again, that paired with another poor performance, I just think, like, is this the best we can do? Like, they are honestly just dreadful. Like, I sang Larouche's praise a few times on the pod because I think he has had some good games, especially when he first came. But then I just think, like, we're lacking on that side. Like, I can't think of who else is any better, and I just feel like it's just this inconsistent performance from him. Like, don't get me wrong, I do think there were a couple good challenges that he made and a couple good moments, but apart from that, I just, like, I can't think of it really.
No, and you know what? The more it's going on, the more I'm tempted to just ask Robbo to chuck his kit on and get on that left side, because I'm telling you now, Robbo put in a better performance over 60, 70 minutes than what Larouche's done in the last 2 or 3 months for me. But yeah, like you say, it just comes down to squad depth and the fact that he's got no one challenging in that position. Like, obviously with Ebisele out, and Gaki has played over that side, but that just doesn't work, does it? It just doesn't work playing a player out of position like that.
But like, I think we've spoken about this on the pod before in years, and we've said, like, what you shouldn't have to play a player out of position. You should be able to have enough players to play in their right position. Like, so many times we would, like, slander people and we'd be like, oh, they would work great. And it's like, yeah, because they're playing completely out of their position because there's nobody else to play there. It shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't have to adjust for them. It should be like, no, players play in their position. You have enough players to cover it. Like you said, I don't understand Ebisele's injured. However, you cannot look at Larouche and be like, yeah, he's playing well, and he also probably feels very comfortable because he's like, well, I'm not going to get dropped. There's no one to come in. So that's obviously probably a mind game that's playing on him. But again, what is the factor here that's under everything? Just squad depth. There's no one challenging for his place.
Yeah, and I've just seen Philip Crouch, your comment at the bottom there about Sema. I'll talk about that more at the end because obviously there's been rumours of him leaving in the window. Obviously, Vata and Chadvikatsi played in the number 10 positions yesterday with Bio up top. I thought Georgie. I'll start with Georgie. Yeah, I thought he did all right yesterday. He was unlucky not to score, wasn't he? At 2-1, the keeper made a good save down at his near post. But still, I mean, I'm 100% putting it down to a confidence thing. But there were still chances yesterday when he could have released the ball quicker than he did. He just seems to hold on to the ball for far too long, doesn't he?
I mean, if we're looking at the squad as a whole, Georgie was the standout for me yesterday. I thought he was excellent. And I have criticised him recently. I've said that he's selfish and this, but he was really a bright light in a very dark game. So I feel like I don't want to say too much negatively about him because I do think that he was a huge, like, it was a great performance from him. But again, like, when he's doing a lot of the hard work, there's his stuff was always wasted. Like you said, he did hold on to the ball a lot longer in a lot of instances, but when your target man is Bayer, you're not really gonna, he's thinking, God, should I even pass the ball? Should I just go? Like, I can understand where that sense of should I or should I not is coming from, because he knows that Bayer is probably gonna scuff it as well. So yeah, but overall, Georgie had a fab game, I think, and he really deserves some praise because I have given him stick, and I think, you know, he looked very fit, he looked up for it, and it was just a shame that the other attacking players didn't.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out, actually, I will say that he did look a lot fitter than
he looked
has
well
done.
rested, like he'd had some rest, and he looked sort of back to kind of what we were seeing like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I think the rest has done him the world of good, really. And I think, obviously, unfortunately, with people going off on Tuesday, he obviously came back into the fold a little bit sooner than I think Tom might have liked. But you know, it is that is what it is. But yeah, like you say, credit where credit's due. He's been poor over the last few weeks, but he was better. But like I say, he just needs to just look up a little bit more when he's in those positions in the final third. Rocco Vata, obviously, we've been singing his praises. We've been singing his praises a lot over the last few weeks. Hello, Michael.
I had to come on and defend myself because of what you were saying about me.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm not having this. I can't be having this." So yeah, he's fair play to you, Mike. I like that.
Apologies to interrupt like that, because I didn't think it was going to throw me in like that. I thought it was going to put me backstage, and then I would have the option to join whenever you guys are ready. So apologies.
Wonderful. We were just, I don't know if you heard, we were talking about Rocco Vata. And as Cam pointed out yesterday, he had a bit of a trampoline touch on him yesterday, like when he was getting the ball and trying to get it under control. He struggled quite a bit yesterday overall, I thought. Seeing as you're here, Mike, what did you think of Rocco's performance yesterday?
Yeah, I am inclined. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, wicked. I'm inclined to agree, to be honest. I think I pointed it out as well as Cam, saying that every touch he had yesterday, it was just bouncing off him. And he was still trying to be the live wire that we know he can be in games. But it just I don't know whether he was trying too hard or what. But yeah, just not his game yesterday. And yeah, still probably speaks volumes, because he was still probably one of our better players on the pitch. And you always look at him now as someone that you think can turn the game on its head, and like he did against Preston, get a goal out of nothing. And yeah, but a little bit disappointed yesterday. I thought a lot of things didn't go his way.
Yeah, it's a shame, because like I say, we do love him, and he's an integral part of our squad now moving forward, and it's just important that he stays fit, because you know, I'd be concerned if he was to pick up an injury, just what we'd look like moving forward. But we'll talk about Bio, our favourite striker at the club. I'll ask both of your thoughts. Caity, we'll start with you. I know you sort of started with, obviously I mentioned that poor effort for him from the cross, going towards the cross for the first goal, and just how overall yesterday he just looked so uninterested and like he didn't want to be in the side yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to hold myself back here, but he was really disappointing yesterday. I thought, I literally thought, you're not even trying, like you're not even having a go. Every time he had an opportunity, like you said, that header, it was the weakest header. It's like, do you want the goalie to catch it? Like, you're not even trying. Every time when he was trying to, like, the ball would be kind of in and around the area, and he's walking, and I literally was going like, why are you walking? Like, at least sprint. Like, one thing about Rocco, what he always does is he never stops moving. He's always running. Even if the ball's not with him, he's running around. You will never catch him just going for a stroll. And when the goalie was, you know, taking his time with the ball, Rocco Vata, like, no wonder he struggled, because he was probably exhausted, because he was doing everything. He was, you know, chasing the keeper down and, you know, just sprinting around. And I literally did nothing. He did nothing. Like, and I think it was just before their second goal, he like tracked back all the way to the corner flag and then just stood still. Just stood still and let and just let the player go completely around him. And I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing? Like, just ridiculous. And then when they scored, he was like throwing his hands in the air. And I thought, well, that literally came from you. Like, you are the reason why you got in everyone's way. Just get out, like, just get off. And I honestly think when Dumbia came on, he looked way better. And like, I know we'll probably talk about this after, but if I'm thinking towards the Norwich game, get off by, like, you can go and wait on the bench. You can go and wait in the changing room until the game's over. Start Dumbia. He deserves a start. Every time he's come on, he looks lively. He looks like a hungry striker. Give him a start and see what happens, because he cannot be worse than Bio. He is dreadful. And I don't care if he's the top goal scorer. He is the worst player I've ever seen play for Watford. The fact that he's got 10 goals is outstanding, because he genuinely does nothing. He's horrific. Honestly, can we cancel the loan and get someone new? Because I hate him. He's so frustrating to watch. Sorry, I had to say that.
No. That's what we're here. That's what we're here for. This is a therapy session, Mike. What do you have anything to add to that?
I was going to say, how do I follow that up? But no, Katie's bang on, to be honest, and it pains me because, you know, I have been an admirer of Bios, because I genuinely thought, you know, sort of start of the season, end of last season, I always said you could tell he wants to be here and he tries his best and he works hard, but that just isn't a thing anymore with Bio. Like Katie's pointed out, and like I think you mentioned earlier, his body language is horrendous. Like, talk about not wanting to be there. Bloody hell. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And there's a couple of times where he'll do something, and I'm trying to think, there was a game he played recently where he didn't score, but it was one that Cam was on the pod. Can't remember what one it was. He didn't score, but he did everything you want your number 9 to do other than score. And he had a really good game. And I think that's what frustrates us Watford fans the most, because he's on 10 goals. Granted, he scored 4 of them in one game. And he can show very small glimpses of what he can do. So I think the reason that we get pissed off is because we know that he can do it. But for one reason or another, he just chooses not to. Will a player like him sort of thrive in the Italian league? Probably. He might go to Udinese next season, hopefully in bloody January, but can't see it happening. He might go to Udinese next season and he might rip it up. He will probably suit their style of football down to the ground. But for us, no, not having him one bit. And that pains me to say, because as I said, you know, I was a really big fan of his. But like Katie said as well, Doumbia come on. And what was it? Was it 2 or 3 minutes after he was involved in the build-up to the goal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so obvious. The answer is there. And I know Klebs has got this thing about not wanting to throw the young players in the deep end too much. I mean, look at Vata. You know, we were screaming out for him only a few months ago to start games. Duomo didn't, you know, obviously got that terrible injury now, but didn't play anywhere near as much as he should have done. So I sort of understand, you know, with Klebs coming from sort of the youth coaching setup, he can maybe see things in a different light to us. But when it's that obvious, you just have to start with Doumbia. And the worrying thing is, come Saturday at 12:30, it's going to be Bio that's going to be starting for us. And I mean, we are so desperate for a striker. And I don't know if you've mentioned it tonight, but obviously the links cropped back up with Emmanuel Dennis. And I think we've had our say plenty of times on that signing. But we desperately need someone up front. Or if you're not going to do that, give bloody Doumbia a start.
Yeah, we got some transfer bits to discuss at the end, so we will talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, it's I mean, as you know, as we mentioned, Bio scoring 4 in one game. He also got a brace in the West Brom game. That 6 goals in 2 games he's got. Take away them 2 games. I think he's played every game this season. I think maybe 2 from the bench, perhaps, but he started near enough every game. That's, let's just say, 25 games he scored 4 goals, really. And one of them at Plymouth away, he did his best to miss. And Oxford at home as well, he took he nearly missed as well. So I think, the only goal that he scored that other than those two games where he's scored multiple goals was the Derby game, wasn't it? Where he scored the worldie.
Yeah.
And you just think, how on earth did he do that when he just looks so dog shit in just all the time? Just going over the subs then, we won't really talk about Abankwah or Doumbia some more. Obviously, we know we'll want Doumbia to start. I think it's fairly evident from the chat what we said. He definitely needs to start soon. For me, at Fulham, I know we got beat, but his press, he looked hungry in a game that was difficult. He was quite. There was a lot of positives to take from that. So it'd be really good to see him get a start in the league, and hopefully, Tom, if you're listening or see a clip of this, please give him a start soon. Ryan Andrews, he got 45 minutes yesterday, came on for Ngakia at half-time. I thought he did all right when he came on yesterday. He was kind of involved in a few good bits of build-up play and looked good on that right side yesterday. Caity, were you impressed with him coming back in?
Yeah, he looked really lively when he came on. And I think, Tom spoke about him being dropped from the team, and then that had happened before, and his reaction was a lot better when he sort of came back into the team. I do think he was one of the more impactful subs. And Abankwah, I do think as well, like I know you sort of brushed over him there, but I think as well, like when he came on, there was a lot more energy in the side. Just touching on that a bit. But yeah, Andrews again, like he's Watford through and through. Like when we scored, he was with the fans, like going like that, like rallying them up, and every time the ball was in the corner, he was, acknowledging the fans, getting them, supporting. So I think again, I do think that maybe he needed that little kick up the arse to just sort of get it going a bit more. But when he came on, I was really impressed with him. So I think he deserves that start on Saturday.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see, obviously, what with the formation and just how bad Larouci looked yesterday. Whether I'm just thinking that Ngakia will probably maybe get moved over to that left side again to bring Andrews back in. I know we don't like it, but Mike, it's a big possibility, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. And this is a problem when you haven't got the players that you need in the squad. For what it's worth, you guys were talking about the back line earlier, and I almost commented. And Ngakia, for me, I know I sing his praises quite highly. And I know, Caity, you're not his biggest fan, but for me, the last couple of games, he's just not looked up to scratch. And I think a lot of that will be obviously the constant changing. Sometimes we'll go with a back three and he'll be a wing back. Sometimes we go flat back four. When you're talking flat back four, he is the best right back at the club. But when you're playing wing backs, there's a problem. And for what it's worth, I am in the camp that doesn't rate Ryan Andrews, but like you've rightly pointed out, I have to give him his credit where credit's due. I think yesterday he come on and he almost had a point to prove, I think, and he looked a little bit more lively. But this is a problem. Larouci should be nowhere near that team, but you have to put Ngakia over on the left, and that doesn't work. James Morris, I mean, he's done all right at left centre back, albeit yesterday he wasn't great at all. So I do not want to see him at left back or left wing back. So, like you say, who else do you put there? You have to go with either Ngakia on the left or Larouci on the left, because Ryan Andrews on the left, for me, I don't think that would work. And I know Mark Schofield's saying, oh no, please not Ngakia at left back. But Mark, who else have we got? You either play Larouci, who's banged out of form at the moment, and to be quite honest, I was a bit pissed off with him yesterday because he sent the Watford away at all. He went down under a challenge, and I was watching on the stream, so the camera obviously following the game, and then next thing you know, he wanders back into the picture, and the Coventry commentator said as soon as he realised that they were playing on, apparently he just jumped up like it was nothing and carried on. I remember Christian Cabaselli getting absolutely berated at Bournemouth one season for going down with cramp. Graham Taylor, you don't get cramp at this club, etc., etc. But there's no other option, Mark. We either play with an absolutely horrendous Larouci at left back, or you play with a Gakia who you might get more of a tune out of him than Larouci would. But this is a problem. We need signings. We need someone that can play that left wing back role, because Cam pointed it out yesterday. At the moment, I'm not sure Larouci's surpassing Jamal Lewis's loan spell, and I'm just glad Ben's not here, because he'd get us kicked off all podcasting sites with the stuff he has to say about Jamal Lewis. But yeah, it's a real dilemma over on that left. I just don't know where we go, to be honest. If it was me and you had a gun to my head now and I had to pick, then I'd go Ngakia just for the sake of not seeing Larouci.
Yeah. You mentioned that Cavaselli, so I remember being at Bournemouth. Didn't Bournemouth score from that as well?
I think that's why. I
remember losing my absolute marbles at that. Mark said here, just jumping in, why not play Morris at left back? I think if Morris was playing in the back four, I think he might do okay. But I just don't think Morris would be able to do well in the wing back position.
I'd rather Robinson kitted up again.
That's what I said.
Morris at left back. Oh, did
That's what I said earlier. I said I'd take a Robinson for like 60, 70 minutes at his age now than see Yasser Larouci there. It's terrible that we're even saying that.
A sad state of affairs, isn't it?
Oh dear. It just finally, I'm not going to really brush over Tom Ince. He didn't really do anything when he came on. It was fresh legs in the midfield, wasn't it, really, when
he looked more lively than Kayembe did the whole game. And that's saying something, because Tom Ince, like you say, didn't really do anything. But I know you've probably thought about Kayembe, but my God, another horrendous game. One of you might have said this already, but he just takes too long to get rid of the ball. He'll do something and you think, oh, bloody hell, he's still got the ball. Right, there's your trigger, pass it now. And he'll wait an extra 5 seconds, or he'll play the ball 5 seconds too early. So, yeah, Ince didn't do anything, but still put in a better shift than Kayembe did.
Yeah. And Sissoko obviously came on for, I think he was on the pitch for just over 20 minutes yesterday. Obviously, he was involved in the goal. He was also involved in nearly getting sent off at the end as well, wasn't he? Because he didn't want to shut up, Caity, when he went over to the ref. He saw the yellow card come out and he was still persisting, wasn't he? Like in his ear. I thought, oh, the red card's going to come out in a minute. And I think he got pulled away because I think the players knew that if he was to get sent off, we'd be up shit street. So, yeah. What did you make of his performance, though, when he came on yesterday?
Yeah. Again, like, he's just Sissoko, isn't he? Like, again, he did well for the goal. And honestly, when in real time, I thought, oh, he's hit that quite well. I was surprised that they gave it as an own goal. And I just thought, he's got better positioning than Bio when he was right there in that, in the box. He was ready. So I think, again, he does good for that, but, he's just not great overall. Again, nothing stand out for me that did anything. He's just a bit slow, just jogs everywhere. He just looks like he's going for a kickabout with his mates half the time.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I actually said he had like an unbelievable game, if I'm being honest. Like, he's done good bits here and there, but Mike, he's just not looking anything like the player we used to have at all, is he?
No, he's past it now. And if you have to use him, do it by bringing him off the bench for the last 10, 20 minutes. Because what was that game a couple of games ago? The Derby game. He didn't start, did he? Tom Delibashiru started. He come on later in the game, and he got an assist, and he did all right. So I think that's where if we're going to see him do well at all, that's how we're going to see him do well. But yeah, just so bad, and it's like he doesn't want to be here either. I heard Caity talk earlier about Pollock having to sort of drag him over, and then I was seeing things on Twitter saying that as soon as Tom Cleverley chants started coming out when they're all stood in front of the away end, he was the first one that did one down the tunnel. So, for me, I'd have been quite happy if the ref showed him that red card, because he needs another suspension. He needs some time out of the team. But to caveat that, because of the situation we're in with the lack of transfers, we really would be fucked if we didn't have him, because that midfield is weak as it is. We were far too passive in the middle yesterday. Tom Delibashira has just come back from a lengthy sort of time out, and Tom's chucked him in and said, right, you're next to Kayembe today, and he's probably thinking, shit, I've got to do two people's jobs at once here, because it was just so easy for him to run through the middle. And if that was a better team, no offence to Coventry, I don't know if any Cov fans are watching, but if that was a better team, they'd have absolutely carved us open, and that could have been a cricket score come the end of the day. So, yeah, I don't want to see Sissoko again in a Watford shirt. We are, I know we've said this time and time again, but we really are screaming out for a midfielder, because boy, do we need one. Do you know what? We just need someone that will do the dirty work, someone that will break up the play, chuck in a bit of a challenge here and there, and yeah, I didn't know that about Georgie either. I know you've just pulled up about Paul's comments. If that is the case, then that's shit attitude from Georgie. I'm happy to give him stick.
One thing I will say is that Georgie's commitment is on the pitch. Like, I'm not saying it is bad he wouldn't clap the fans, but he tries, and he is a stand-up player almost every game. For me, that's enough that you are rewarding the fans with a good performance. Obviously, yes, you should always come over and clap the fans. However, someone like Sissoko, who drops stinkers every week and then doesn't clap the fans, I think that's worse.
Yeah, he should still acknowledge to a point, though. I do. Yeah. See where Paul's coming from on that. Obviously, we've had a lot of comments on transfer bits. We'll just kind of talk about it briefly. I'm just coming back into where was it? Trying to find the comment now. Philip Crouch, there we go. Is there an argument to bring Sema back into the squad if he's not leaving in the window? Potentially. Obviously,
no. End of conversation.
Well. I mean, we're struggling that much over on the left-hand side that I'd potentially maybe rather see Ken Sema there than Yasser Larouci, if I'm being completely honest. But from what I've heard is Paphos. I've got a friend who's a Paphos fan, and he has said that they're trying to really push that one over the line. So, yeah. I mean, Dominguez.
How the fuck have you got a friend who's a Paphos?
It's mad, isn't it? Yeah. When I saw it the other day, I messaged him and I said, "You're not going to believe this," because obviously they signed Dominguez Keener, didn't they, as well? So he was asking me about him and saying, "Oh, is he good?" and that, and he's not really featured too much. He's been on the bench a few times. I think he's only scored one goal out there, but yeah, I mean, Ken Sema. I can see him, whether it be to go to Cyprus or whether it's back to Sweden. I do think the club are looking to get that one done early rather than the summer because of the wage bill, rather than wanting to get a fee. I think he's still on around 15 to 20,000 a week potentially, and they're not going to want to pay that for a player that's just not playing. So yeah, that one for me will happen. It's just a case of where he's going. Another one that's I've just seen crop up at the bottom from where was it again? Ian's just posted saying Eversele being trapped by Fenerbahce. Not sure I've seen Fenerbahce. I've definitely seen Galatasaray. Don't
want to get those two mixed up, Ian. Do not go over there and get them two mixed up, mate.
No, Batshuayi made the mistake, didn't he, of leaving Fenerbahce and signing for Galatasaray. I don't know what he thought he was doing there. But what's your thoughts on if Eversele was to leave, Caity? Would you be bothered by that one, or do you think, with the lack of players that we have got, that it's important that if we're not going to get cover, that we keep hold of him?
I think it's obvious that he's trying to force this move. I mean, and I think I don't know why we would try to be forcing him out, considering we literally just got him. I mean, obviously we know there was rumours about an attitude problem with him, stirring up stuff at the training ground or whatever that was about. And I just believe if you want out, like if he wants to go, he should go. There's no reason why we should try and keep him. He's not done enough for me, and I know I'm going to look like a right idiot because I know in the Christmas special I defo put him as signing of the year or whatever. Like, let's just forget that ever happened, because if he actually goes, that's really embarrassing from me. I mean, he had that good spell when he first got here and he first was playing. I don't really know what's happened. I don't know if it's that he hasn't settled properly here or God knows. But if you want out, you should go. No point trying to keep you if you don't want to play. Again, it is about if people are getting out the door. If we are losing a couple people, you've got to be bringing someone in. We're already stretched thin for numbers now. So if he's going, it must mean that we're trying to get rid of a loan spot. So I don't know. It will be interesting to see what happens. But again, if you're trying to force a move, you should go.
Yeah, Mike, quickly on that one. What are you?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
In your defence as well, Caity, you might have said that on the Christmas special, but let's not forget that last season, Ben said that Hoot was going to be the most disappointing player of the season, and he actually went on to win player of the season. And he also said Ince was going to be top scorer. So I won't worry too much about what you were saying, but I'm sure we'll revisit it come the end of the season awards. But yeah, he's blown too hot and cold for me, more so cold than hot. There were a couple of games earlier in the season where I thought there might be a player in there, and it's really disappointing because I sat down with the lads, Jason it was, from the Rams Review podcast, and I did a, what are they called now? The Lowdown. I did a Lowdown podcast with him to get all the inside info on Festy Baselli. Obviously he was at Derby and they said he was deployed more as a winger, so maybe more attacking, but for me, especially recently, he hasn't looked on it. And to be honest, I know the injury update a few days ago was a bit vague, but I'm sure they were worried that it was going to be quite a lengthy time out for him. So I'm not really sure why someone would be looking at bringing him in now. And it also wouldn't surprise me if we announced he's gone out on loan, and then also in the small print, it'll be like, oh yeah, we signed him permanently like 2 weeks ago. So forgot to tell you again. Sorry about that. But yeah, for me, if he goes, he goes. And like Caity said, it frees up another loan spot for some other no-mark from Udinese to come in and do exactly the same.
Yeah. And just finally, Emmanuel Dennis. There's been a lot of rumours today about him coming back. I saw early this morning that Alan Nixon, was reporting that we were going to be signing him back. We're unsure on fully whether it's a loan or whether it's going to be, if Forest release him, we sign him on a permanent deal. So I've seen comments in from people this evening, he's not fully fit. That was my comment as well. He's not fully fit. It's probably going to take him potentially to the middle end of March to get fully fit again, maybe if he comes in. Also saw a comment from somebody before saying that, we need players now. Caity, first of all, would you take him?
Well, I would take him because it's a signing and it's a body in the squad. I mean, I won't go as far as saying that he was bad when he came last year. I just think he wasn't fit enough. I would definitely take him. It isn't the worst signing, but it's not. We cannot do what we did last January, where we just brought him in, pleased the fans, and then signed nobody else, because obviously all the fans got on board with it, and they were like, "Yeah, Dennis," and then Gino was like, "Wait, well, you're not signing anyone else." So I feel like it's a bit more of that. If anyone can get the best out of him, though, it's going to be Tom. So I definitely take him, but we can't just take him. We have to have a couple more people coming in because we need bodies. We need bodies in the door now, desperately. And Emmanuel Dennis is not going to save us from this spiraling downfall.
Yeah, I agree. It's not one I'm not one I'm on board with either. I know Cam, he's not with us tonight talking, but He's desperate for it. Mike, what about yourself?
I don't know if he's desperate for it, but look, bottom
I
line
really
is,
want it, I think he said.
okay, fair enough. He might have said that. I shouldn't be digging him out of shit anyway, little twat. But he, do you know what? We need players for right now. So if you're strictly looking at that, then no, don't touch him. However, if we bring him in, as long as the fans know he's not going to be firing on all cylinders for the rest of this season, and give him a full pre-season, and then let him unleash in the Championship, he will be by far one of the best players in the Championship. However, that is the bottom line, what I've just said, isn't it? We need someone for right now, and he's not the answer. So if we can get someone else in the strikers department, and then it's like, oh, well, we're going to sign this player, but also there's a possibility we're going to bring Dennis back in, then yeah, not a problem. But like Caity said, don't bring Dennis in as our only striking option for the rest of this season, because he might chip in with 3 or 4 goals, but that's not going to be good enough. I don't know at the moment what a lot of Watford fans are thinking. Are there still people that think playoffs is a possibility? We're only 3 points outside. Are there people that now think we're going to finish in mid-table? Are there people that think we're actually going to slide even further down? So it all depends on what people are thinking. And the worrying thing is, it's what those people up there are thinking. And they are probably some of the most deluded owners I have come across. And at the start of the season, they said that the aim was promotion. They sort of have to say that because of where we've been recently, and 5 years in the Premier League, etc., wanting to get back up, parachute money sort of ending now. But I just think, yeah, Dennis for right now, right here and now, no. But if we brought someone else in and Dennis was an option still, then yes, absolutely. Because next season, like I say, he would absolutely run riot. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah. You know what? There's a player that's doing, an ex-player of ours that's doing really well at the moment, out in the Czech Republic, for Pleasant. I would, do you know what? I would take him back in a heartbeat. So far this season, in 16 league games, he's got 4 goals and 3 assists. And in the Europa League, he's got 3 goals and 2 assists.
Scored against Man U, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He's playing really well. I mean, I think he's 32 now. I'd have him back in a heartbeat in this team. Like him with Vata and Georgie would be electrifying.
Probably one of the best finishers at the club in my time.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Not quite number one, but definitely up there.
Yeah, definitely. And just to finish, if we're going to go, we've got 7 days left. The window is shutting at 11 p.m. next Sunday. So we've got exactly 1 week and a few hours left. What number of players, if any at all, do you think we're going to bring in the next 7 days? Caity?
How many numbers do I think we're going to bring in, or how many numbers should we bring in?
No, how do you think? Do you think
1, and it will be Dennis, and that's it.
You think one player? Oh, blimey! Okay, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll come to terms with this contract agreement. I don't know if Dennis is really the guy
it's
that we hear
alone.
about.
It's a loan, and apparently, from what people have been saying, is that, well, what this journalist has been telling me is that they want us to pay like most of the wages.
Yeah, Gino ain't doing
that. We're poor, so he's not going to do that.
You could peel a fucking orange in his pocket. He ain't going to start doing that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Let's go with 1 as well, and yeah, Dennis. But how many do we need? Goalkeeper, left back, midfielder, striker, 4 minimum.
Yeah. Do you know what? I can actually just see it being Rajovic coming back.
No.
I can genuinely see us. In fact, do you know what? We actually can't though now, can we? Or are the rules different for them because they're in Denmark and their season doesn't kick off again until February? But I'm pretty sure the period in which you had to recall players was the 14th of January was the deadline.
Was it?
I didn't know that. Hopefully that is the case then, and he can stay
Yeah,
over there.
so I know there was talk to bring him because they're on a mid-season break, and I'm pretty sure they don't start till the middle end of February. Their rules might be different, but yeah, if it's the same as everywhere else, then there's no chance of it actually happening. To be fair, so yeah.
Let's not pry too deep into the intricacies of that, Tom. If you are watching, just take it as we can't bring him back. That's not a problem. Leave him there.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, Mike. Just before we go, actually, I know you wanted to say a quick word on your progress for the fundraising for the WD18 Cup.
Yeah. Sorry, if you guys follow us on social media, you'll probably be sick to the back teeth about this, but I have to. We need to raise money for 4 brilliant charities, mental health charities. In fact, I saw Jacob coming earlier from WD18, so hopefully he's still here and he's not bored. But me and Cam decided, obviously, we're going to be doing the 250 miles between us from the 8th of Jan to the 1st of May. We are now down to 198.5 miles left. We got 14.5 miles in the tank this week between me and Cam. It is absolutely killing me. I have never run so much in my life, and yeah, it's killing me. But I've got the Watford 10K on Sunday, so I'm going to be at the Norwich game, which will be great. We're all meeting up, hopefully. And I've got the Watford 10K on Saturday. So if anything, it's probably helped me get a little bit fitter for that, because that, from what I've heard, is going to be a bit of a slog within itself. But yes, the link to it, if you go over to our Twitter and to our Instagram, it's one of our stories on the Instagram has got the link there. You just click it and it will pop up on your screen. And yeah, on Twitter as well, I put an update out earlier on today. So if you go onto our profile, it's probably like the last but one tweet. So yeah, any donations, whether it's £1, 10 quid, 100 quid, £1,000, although if it's £1,000, maybe give that to Scott and Gino. But yeah, any donations spared will be hugely appreciated. As I said, it does go to 4 mental health charities, so it goes to really, really good causes. But yeah, we're going to be at the Norwich game, aren't we, Joe? We're going to tell people what the plan is for that.
Yeah, I was going to mention it. Yeah, we've kind of been discussing. So we are going to be in the bunker before the game for whether it's just to meet up or whether we'll have an early drink. But we'll be in the bunker before the game. I'm not sure. We've not pinpointed a time yet, but we'll put it on our socials, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday. So do look out for that. And we've said that we're going to be going to walk about after the game. I know there's obviously the 3:00 kickoffs that will be on the telly, and also Wolves Villa is 5:30, so there'll be a decent game at 5:30 if we're still around then drinking. So yeah, do come along and find us for a drink.
We'll have a whip round for Emmanuel Dennis's loan fee and covering most of his wages as well. So bring any spare change you might have.
Yeah. And Jacob's just commented saying, "Love it, guys. Huge effort."
My God.
I feel like I should get on this because I shouldn't. Obviously, I'm going to be taking part as well. I feel like I need to. Could be a kickstart for me to get into shape for this cup, Mike. I might have to get on and help you guys out a little bit because it's a big effort. So yeah, maybe next week I'll get back out and start joining you both. And I've got it on a recording now, so I can't back out.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, thanks ever so much for tuning in, everyone, this evening, guys. Mike's going to be back in the week. He's doing a preview of the Norwich game. Mike, what's the name? Do you know the name of the person you're going to be chatting to?
I don't, because they don't exist at the moment. I've sent an email out to someone. I'm hoping they get back to me. Norwich, by the way. There's something about East Anglia, and no, I don't mean that before anyone comments it. There is something about East Anglia where I just cannot get their podcasts. So couldn't get an Ipswich podcast last season and couldn't get a Norwich podcast last season either. So I'm fingers crossed. I'll be back on Tuesday, and I'll probably be joined by Caity as well. But yeah, hopefully we'll start busting out some of the match previews with opposition podcasts again, because it's been a while since we've done one of them. I think the last time we did one was Cardiff, and that was for the game that was called off because of the storm. So that was a while ago. So yeah, Tuesday night live.
Lovely. Yeah. So as I said, guys, thanks ever so much for tuning in this evening. Obviously, if you're not subscribed, do hit that subscribe button. You will get notifications, as we always say, when we go live. We are creeping up. I saw we jumped up, I think, 4 or 5 numbers in the last few days, which is great. Also, do hit that like button as well if you've watched the video. But yeah, thanks ever so much, everybody, and we'll be back on Tuesday. Have a good evening. Come on, you Orns.